Hiya Hinsters, how are you doing? I hope you are safe and well. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome too. Happy Saturn Day, and I do hope this time I upload this actual video on actual Saturn Day, because I'm aware a couple of videos ago I said something like it's Monday Moon Day or whatever, and it was the wrong day in terms of when I actually uploaded it. So sorry about that. Sometimes I film a video the day before or a couple of days before, and I forget. I'm just a bit stupid like that. I forget that I said what I said. So anyway, hiya, this is the February 2021 astrology video. If you'd like a reading with me, details are in the description below. We are going to talk a lot about Aquarius. Yes, Aquarius. Because, the first half of February is Aquarius season. The second half is Pisces season. But like my last month astrology video, which was January, you can check that one out. I talked mainly about Capricorn and then a little bit about Aquarius. And I'm going to do the same sort of, what the frig? I just showered. Sorry, but like whatever. But yeah, I'm going to do the same thing where I talk about Aquarius mostly today, and then a little bit about Pisces. And if you're interested more in Pisces, look out for my coming videos where, of course, we will start to talk more about that. Get cozy, but I'm going to try to keep this short and not too tangential. But I wanted to start with two tarot cards that I thought today would kind of help us understand Aquarius season and February, which, first of all, February, of course, is always an Aquarian sort of month, but I think especially this year, it's incredibly Aquarian, because this is where we had that grand or that great conjunction, right, of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. And you can check out my video on that. I did it a while ago. That has already brought in a lot of, slowly, it's slow to kick in, but a lot of Aquarian energy. And a lot of us have already, especially with Mercury now in Aquarius, we've already been sort of tantalized for the last couple months by Aquarian energy before February even starts. But here we have the Star card, Major Arcana card. This is the Wild Unknown deck, by the way. I use it all the time on my channel. It's my favorite deck. It's by Kim Krantz. I think this is like one of Kim Krantz's first decks. There are some newer ones which are also really, really beautiful, but this is the one that I haven't used. But this is the Major Arcana card, the Star, often associated with Aquarius. A lot of tarot readers associate this card with wishes, but you can see here there's a lot of other background stars as well. And of course Aquarius comes after Capricorn, Capricorn being also associated with the number 5 or 5-pointed things like the star and the devil and control and lots of different 5 type things, power. And so Aquarius follows that, and there's a lot to do with wishes granted, or I should say rather wishes being more calculated, because Aquarius is not a water sign but an air sign, and so actually there's a lot of thought and rationality and a lot of ideas when we talk about Aquarian energy, yet it's super duper quirky. And that's why even myself, when I first got into astrology, I mistakenly thought Aquarius was a water sign. And it's even like in the name. The trick is in the name, aqua, right? And also they're called the water bearers, but they're not the water signs. They just bear or carry the water, and they pour it out somewhere. You might have seen this imagery in the Rider-Waite tarot deck, where there, I think, am I right? With the Star card? I think that's the imagery, right? Where there's a pouring out, literally. That's kind of Aquarius. And so we know that Aquarius has this kind of side to it where it's contradictory. It's an air sign, yes, but it's often mistaken to be a water sign. And it also has to kind of carry this water. It's really interesting because it's the penultimate sign as well in that Mesopotamian sort of 12 constellation circle. It's the penultimate sign before that circle ends. Pisces is the ending. That's the water sign. But Aquarius comes before it, and it's like, if Pisces season, which I'll talk about in the end, but if Pisces season is about the wish or the dream kind of having to ferment and giving yourself time to wait and sleep and dream before you rush out and actually fight for your dreams and attain your dreams and all that jazz. Aquarius season is really where you sit down and you look through the telescope, look at the constellations, and you start to actually like map map your dreams of the future. And so it's not really about Capricorn things so much anymore once we get into February, although Pluto will still be there. But it's going to be a bit more about forward thinking, finally. We're stepping out now. Capricorn was the beginning of the end. Aquarius is slap bang in the middle of the end of the astral year. So this is actually when we feel things are ended, and we are now starting to look at the stars and see where we can go, or what our spirit can go toward to experience in the future. But I also wanted to talk about this card here, because the moon's in Gemini right now as I film on January 23rd, and this is the Daughter of Swords, or sometimes the Page of Swords in traditional decks. But you see here, beautiful little owl and more stars in the background, and different colors as well. And I wanted to talk about this because we also have to pay attention to Gemini energy this year and next year as well, because that's where the North Node is, and the North Node always retrograding and going direct very frequently. The North Node is helping us or trying to get us to look more to the Geminis in our lives, to the Gemini type of energies in our lives. That has to do with things like dualities, and has to do with putting together all the different perspectives and being able therefore to relate really easily, really quickly, really keenly, and with interest to other people and other people's ideas, other people's gossip, all that Gemini sort of jazz. And I think that's going to really help us get on board, if we're doing the right thing, get on board with February and the increasing Aquarian themes as well, because they're both air signs, and Aquarius will help you fixate on that continuing snappy North Node and Gemini sort of ability to just adapt mentally to what everyone else is saying or thinking, to be a chameleon in that air sign Gemini sense. And that might actually help us in terms of where we're going in the longer term, in the bigger picture, in terms of where we're going. The Gemini element is going to help us offset a little bit of the dangers that Aquarius energy can really usher in for us very quickly, which we'll talk about now. But yeah, this is a very Aquarian month. What is Aquarius again? It's a fixed air sign, and the glyph typically is like squiggly lines, 2 or 3, 4 sometimes squiggly lines, and it's often connoted with like frequencies or sort of signals, ideological disseminations therefore. And so you do get a lot of Aquarius heavy people who have a lot to say about their activism, about their humanitarianism, about their ideas, about their not just wackiness or individuality, but their uniqueness, and how that can actually be applied to actually do something, to actually be serious and severe about something, because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn first and foremost, and then Uranus. So the Uranus kind of off kilter sort of energy is more background for Aquarius actually, and then what's actually driving a lot of Aquarians is that Saturnian severity, that Saturnian melancholy as well. A lot of melancholy that is paired with their zaniness and individuality, but it's like I often would think of it as seriously committing to your bright ideas, or seriously committing to your futurism. So it's not just a faddy thing, or it shouldn't be. It's not a faddy thing. You are serious. And that can creep in for you right about now, or come February, when you start to get serious now about thinking about your future, about moving forward, or just in terms of your spirit and how your spirit can progress, how you can progress and continue to spiritually experience for yourself. I am brought then at this stage of my sort of journey to start now to talk about resolutions. So, my last few videos, especially the dawn of Capricorn season, I talked about how that wasn't, and we still aren't right now in the sort of resolution energies. It's just not the right time, I've been saying, to throw ourselves into too many brand new things, right? But Aquarius season proper, when the sun starts to go through Aquarius, I want to say it is actually the time for devising your resolutions. So devising the resolutions. Note that I use the word devising and not throwing yourself into. So now we can start to devise air sign Aquarius It's really a time for us to concentrate on and to analyze our future plans. So concentration is definitely coming from the fixed Aquarian energy. Have a thought, have an idea, go there, straight down like that, you know. All the fixed energies are like that. Analyzing as well future plans. So this is air energy generally. So the North Node and Gemini energy will help us as well with this analysis. In terms of, again, the other sides, the opposite side. Things of our ideas and especially anything zany, anything really, really off the charts that we have planned for ourselves, I think the Gemini energy really has this potential. The Geminis around you, your Gemini placements, have the potential to help you keep things spiced up, to help you also ground yourself a little bit in the mind. Gemini is really good at that, and telling you when your idea is a bit too ignorant of the pedestrian. The pedestrian is very useful for you. If you want to walk, if you want to keep walking, right? If you want to keep safe in your own locality, you want to observe and adhere to Gemini things and Gemini energies, which is getting on with the locality and being able to relate to anyone and relate your crazy, zany, off the charts things to anyone. If you can't do that, then Gemini is often like, well, what's the point? Like, it's just something very grandiose or something like arrogant even. So Gemini is going to help us, I think, again, stave off some of the more zealous and really fixed and obsessive potentialities that Aquarius season will potentially bring us. And often a lot of astrologers talk about how Aquarius season and February is going to be about joining the dots. Again, it's like looking through a telescope, but it's most importantly, it's like something that provides us a window or provides us a look through the window of what is way beyond. So not just the sun, the moon, and occasionally some of the other planets that we might see with the naked eye, but what we can see even beyond that. And sometimes that's in collective senses, so we start to see things in a more collective, we are one type of sense, but other times it's just more about connecting with your higher self and going way beyond, the run-of-the-mill things you've always done, or the sort of baseline way you've always thought about yourself or treated yourself. It's about like really, really going off the charts. But you can only gain that knowledge by looking through the telescope and being able to join the dots, and all things start to make sense. And again, by this, I've been saying this on my channel, but by this month, February into March, we should all sort of have made some significant sense of where we're heading, or at least where we want to head, so that when we hit the ground, we can hit the ground running, or we can get up very quickly and get on with it. Now, Aquarius season also introduces every year, more generally, this sense of we are being taken to the water by someone, by something, or we take ourselves to the water, but we are not being forced to drink that water, which is really interesting. Aquarians will often give you advice very freely, very progressive advice, very clever advice, but at the same time they can sort of accept that you may not take that advice, that you might reject that advice. And there's a certain it's my prerogative or it's your prerogativeness about Aquarian energy and Aquarius season. So do expect that there might be a lot of preaching, there might be a lot of advice, unsolicited advice, or just again, zealous propagations of things. A bit of Sagittarius seasonal energies might creep back in. Aquarius sextiles Sagittarius. A bit of that might, Aquarians and Sagittarius are said to get on so well because of this sextile, or to be so similar. And yeah, they both do have this propagation type of energy. And so keep an eye out for that, whether that's you doing it or others around you. Are you trying to force someone to drink the water, or is someone trying to force you to drink the water? Or has someone or something brought you to the water and given you so much help and advice and tools even, and you're still refusing to drink? Aquarius season provides you with the opportunity to think about why you're doing that, or to think again about that, especially with Uranus direct right now. It's perfect time for us to get back on track in terms of slowly progressing. This season is also, or February rather, is going to bring us like there's a sense of continuous patterns, and even right now, like continuous patterns and habits. It's like you're continually going up and down the stairs or up and down the hill, fetching a pail of water, Jack and Jill, and you're fetching water, and there's this like give and take that we have to increasingly pay attention to. Again, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, so there's this attention to the limits of everything, the tightening of everything, and the cutting of things when things get too out of hand, or when things get too, unjust or egotistical or whatever. Saturn really comes in and is like, no, slice off, cut off. So there's a bit of like, we have to observe healthy patterns, get into healthy patterns of give and take. And if you're taking water from somewhere, like putting it back. It's like a water filter. If you're emptying the water filter into your kettle, your cup, whatever, it's like make sure you fill the filter back up, right? Don't just leave the empty filter or the empty well. Like make sure you're replenishing, you're reining back into something, you're giving back. Aquarius is often associated with humanitarianism, philanthropy. So like you might even in the next couple months decide that you're going to do one thing, just one thing, one little sort of ritual every day or every week or every month where you give something freely without expecting anything back. You might give money to the homeless, you might donate something of yours, you might give free workshops or something, you might put out free lectures if you're an academic or student or something, you might like put out free information or a free publication, whatever. Like you might just get more into this sort of Aquarian habit that could be quite lifelong. Also, we are kind of in February, and right now actually stepping into a cubicle. This could be like a shower cubicle or like a capsule, a space capsule, aliens, Aquarians, aliens, so spaceships. We're kind of stepping into the capsule, but we're not flying off yet. That's like Aquarius into Pisces season. We're not flying off yet. We are like sort of washing ourselves. And if this is like a shower cubicle analogy, we're sort of letting the water really hit us hard and fast. It could be like boiling hot water or like freezing cold water, whatever, but it's not like lukewarm. It's one or the other, fixed energy, extremes. So we're kind of washing ourselves with this water to get ready for Pisces season, which is the incubation period or the hibernation period. So in one sense it is, and especially when Venus hits Aquarius, we're getting into a sort of vibe of sterilizing. That's a really good word for Aquarius season or Aquarian energy, but sterilizing ourselves before we get into the pod or the capsule and go to sleep for about a month, and then we wake up and we're ready to spark, we're ready to hit the Aries fiery sort of climbs. Now let's talk a little bit quickly about the rat and the rat year. So yes, we're still in the metal rat year, and it's really the rat's final burst of genius in February, or the final sort of hunkering down at that drawing board that I mentioned in my last video or two. And we're sort of now poring over the figures, right? The constellations of our plans. We're given this last opportunity to sort of straighten, the last opportunity of this year really, to straighten out the logic and the kind of loops in our plans. Now, I talked about this in the last video as well, this next point, but Aquarius season always, every year, brings us this sort of sense of having arrived. So I've arrived, this is it. That can happen when the goat enters the observatory. So if in Capricorn season we've been this goat going up the mountain, we get to the top of that mountain and there's this amazing observatory, and there's this like wacky, crazy scientist outside saying, come on in, come see. Come see all these instruments, come see this technology, come have a look through. Wow, amazing, right? And what can happen is the goat, or us still lingering in the Capricorn energy, we can get, well, two things can happen. First of all, we can really start to see our dreams, we can really start to see the sense of our dreams and join the dots and get really, really excited and inspired and pumped and just throw everything we don't need, everyone we don't need. We can really throw it all to the side and really get on track to those things that we want to do. which is amazing, right? It's incredible, and it's very like snap. We can really detach ourselves incredibly from all the emotional anxiety, fears, and all that jazz, and just jump onto that other planet, that completely other planet that is our future dreams and future plans. So that can be really great for us. Another thing that can happen though, when this goat enters the observatory at this point of the year, we can get like zeal. We can get really zealous, and really like, again, the Sagittarian sort of Aquarian sextile can play out here. We can get really cocky basically with what we have seen through looking through the telescope, and almost get narcissistic, almost get self-obsessed, or just obsessed with the ideal of our dreams, our plans, or with the luck of it. Aquarius is on the Leo Aquarius axis, and so ego can definitely play out strongly. Lions, right, on the same axis as zealots and like prophets, these types of very strong, very proud, very powerful sort of archetypes that can really get to the head, get to your head, get to our head, and the dreams, they actually don't get worked on, or there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of propagation or preaching, when actually behind the scenes there's like corruption, or there's lies, or there's hypocrisy. And so that can really, really creep in, and it becomes much more about the image of the idea than practicing the idea itself, if that makes sense. So that kind of zeal and dogma can creep in, as well as, though, disillusionment. So what can happen is the goat comes into the observatory and is like really kind of disillusioned, and falls right back into those devil Capricorn season energies, and kind of wants to stay there. And it's like, oh my gosh, I've just seen everything. I've just seen how everything connects for me, and I'm really afraid. Saturn is associated with fears and ostracism and isolation, and so there can be this that happens. We just want to curl back up into that space and get disillusioned, feel hopeless, and also feel this kind of, get this insignificance mentality where you just feel like you're a speck, right? You feel like you're a speck amidst everything, right? That can also happen in Aquarius season. So I want to talk about then finally Pisces season very briefly, and how this can actually help us stay in touch with the dream, if you have dreams, stay in touch with the plans, the future, the futurity of it, the movement, the acceleration, the progression, to stay in touch with that. Pisces season, or having Pisces season on the horizon, can really help you stay in touch, because that is the season of the dream moment. That's where when you're really excited for something that's going to happen tomorrow. Like, of course, you don't know for sure if it's going to happen, but most likely it is. And you go to bed really excited. You have a really good night's sleep. Maybe you don't even sleep for a while because of the excitement, but you do enter this sort of dream moment, this magic that starts to come over you, that overtakes you. It's very comforting. It's like being in a womb, but it's also magical. It's not quite Cancerian. It's this Piscean womb type energy. You are putting yourself back into the universe come Pisces season, and letting the potentiality sort of ferment. That's ferment as in Ferment, but also Foment. Both ferments here in Pisces season. Letting the dreams ferment, sleeping on things, right? Letting yourself just sleep on things and start to relax on the relax due to the confidence of your dreams and the confidence of your plans and the actual way you've thought about it. You've thought it through in Aquarius season. And so if you've been doing that, you will get to this point where you're able to relax and have more peaceful sleeps, get more excited about what is to come the next day. And also Pisces season is that final healing moment. So even if February does, the beginning of February especially, or the first half, even if it does turn out for you to be still quite trying or just intense, because Aquarius season can be very much like the Eight of Wands card in the tarot, like lots and lots of things just flying at you, and you've got to act quickly and with a genius kind of mind. Gotta detach, just have to detach emotionally. That can be hard, right? But Pisces season, when it comes, it's the final healing moment of the astral year, and it is where we get to rest up and get excited about Aries season. And that Aries season is going to be when we do a lot of the action, and when we, if you are a resolution setter, that's going to be the perfect time for you to actually do the running, the jogging, do the exercising, the gym, whatever, do the actual work and put yourself actually out there. That's going to be the perfect prime time. But that might not happen if we don't start like doing the hunkering down and looking through the telescope and making these final calculations and devising the plan that we're going to sleep on first to get our energies back and then put into action. So that's kind of what I've got for this February 2021 astrology video. I hope it was helpful, insightful, and yeah, thank you for watching Hinsters. I will see you in the next video, and I love you very much. Take care. Mwah.